Good morning, everyone. If everyone could please go ahead and start making your way to the table and take a seat. Ooh, those lights are bright. Thank you. How's everyone doing this morning? All right. Has everyone had their coffee yet? Okay, good. Well, I want to welcome everyone to our October Catalyst Gathering. I don't know if you know this, but it is October, even though it's going to be about 100 degrees. So we are entering into fall. So I want to introduce myself very quickly. I'm Maria Cortez. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer at Stanislaus Community Foundation. I've been there for about a year and a half. But beyond that, I grew up in Modesto. I went to junior high school here, a longtime Modesto resident. I moved away for several years, but when I returned back to the Central Valley now 6 years ago, this space was the space that reintroduced me to the community. So I'm so excited to welcome you here. Catalyst is a gathering where we have like-minded leaders gather here from different sectors, whether it's nonprofit, government, different agencies. And it's a place for you to connect, get to know each other, build trust. And we're also hopeful that it goes beyond this room. So how many of you in here, by a show of hands, have had a coffee or a get-to-know-you lunch or something along those lines outside of this building? All right. And I've met a lot of you through this room. And so again, when I had moved back, I was like, I didn't know who was who, what was going on in the community. I wanted to learn. I wanted to connect. I wanted to get to know people. And this space really did that for me. So I was able to build trust with people. I was able to go get coffees. I was able to learn about so many incredible people and organizations in our community. So I love that this is a great space. It's a safe space for us to learn together, for us to tackle some really challenging issues at times. But I hope that you feel that in this space, that it's a place for connection, for building trust, and for getting to know each other a little bit more. So with that, I just want to make sure I cover everything. If you haven't already, I want to encourage you to check in on social media, Facebook, Instagram, whatever you're on, and let people know. We want to share that this is an incredible space and invite others to participate. So share it, check in, whatever you're comfortable with, make sure that you do that. All right, so let's kick off our morning. Are you guys ready? Perfect. All right, so first off, to kick off our morning, we're going to be watching a video, which is an incredible, I just learned about it yesterday, and I'm really excited for you to learn about it too. So we're going to learn more about Volunteer Central.
Okay, so for the last 16 years, we have tried as hard as we could to make signing up to volunteer as easy as possible and as fun as it can be for one day a year. Now we're making volunteerism as easy as possible to sign up and as fun as it can be all year round. All right? So 5 years in the making, 48 hours ago, we launched Volunteer Central. And so in these 48 hours, right now we have 17 partner organizations with more in the queue, ready to sign up, to be a part, to get volunteers, get all the help that they need throughout the year. We've got 218 volunteer opportunities on the app right now. And in the last 48 hours, 35 of these volunteer opportunities have been fulfilled. Isn't that cool? And obviously, we're all just starting here. And we've had over 200 downloads of our app. So right now, I'm going to ask you, take your phones out. Go to your app store, type in Volunteer Central. Real simple, Volunteer Central. Download the app, and you'll be able to be a part of, what I believe, what we've been doing, that one day a year, we're going to be as well known in our community for what we do year round than the one day. One day a year changes some things, but year round changes everything. If you're an organization here and you want to be a part, I'd love to meet with you just real briefly. I got some flyers I'd love to give to you to see how you can sign up to apply to be a part of Volunteer Central. So just see me right afterwards, and I'd love to include you. Find your place to volunteer. Are you with me? Of course.
Yeah, Jeff, I've already selected some of the areas that I want to focus on. So I was looking through the app yesterday. So thanks, Jeff, for sharing that with us. We're excited about it. All right, so now I want to introduce the topic for the day. I'm super, super passionate about this conversation and this topic that we're going to cover today. So we're going to be talking about investing in emerging leaders today. So what does that mean? So take a second and think about that for yourself. What does that mean? What is an emerging leader, and what does that mean to you? What does that mean to our community? What does that mean maybe to the organization that you're a part of? And why is it important, and why are we talking about it? So just take a second and think about that. As you're thinking about that, I'm going to read what the definition, according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, emerging means something newly formed or prominent, or is growing in strength and popularity. So becoming widely known or established, right? And so CMN, as CMN thinks about what that means for emerging leaders, CMN is really leaning into, pouring in, and investing in leaders who are emerging in our community, who are collaborative, who are lifelong learners, and really pouring into them. So one thing I always say, especially having been back in the Central Valley for the last 6 years, I constantly find myself looking around rooms like this and saying, we have incredible talent and we have incredible people in the Central Valley. Am I right? So again, CMN, that's the core of who they are, is really looking intently and pouring into those leaders that are emerging in our community. So I know people say leaders of tomorrow, but they're really leaders of today because they're showing up, they're in our community, so let's really pour into them and support their leadership journeys. So I'm super excited to bring up Carlos Gonzalez. And Carlos is going to be sharing one of the projects and programs that we want to highlight today that's focused on emerging leaders. So thank you. Welcome, Carlos.
Thank you. Thank you. I have the privilege this morning to talk to you about HYLC, Hispanic Youth Leadership Clubs. First of all, anybody ever heard of HYLC? A few of us have. For the past 35 years, HYLC have been student-led clubs that have existed on high schools and some middle schools. These clubs are supported by all-star teachers. We actually are going to hear from one today, so I'm excited about that. All-star teachers who invest in these emerging leaders. Currently, there are over 20 clubs across 4 counties. And let me just name a few different cities. We have Merced. Anybody from Merced? Okay, that's fine. Atwater, Livingston, Turlock, Houston, Riverbank, Oakdale, Manteca. What's up? Lathrop, Newman. We have a club in Sacramento. And, of course, we have a few clubs in Motown. What's up? Anybody from Motown? The goal or the vision for HYLC is grounded in Latino culture. HYLC provides youth opportunities for what? For leadership development, for career awareness, for service to the community, and social activities. And one of the things we are finding throughout these different clubs, throughout these different schools and these different counties is it's providing a space for young people to just belong. It's providing a space for young people to believe that they too are also leaders and they too have something to give and contribute. So I just want to show a quick video. It really is real quick, and then I'm going to ask Marvin to come stand over here, please, por favor. Gracias. So once we finish with the video, Marvin's going to come up and he's going to share a little bit about the beginnings of HYLC because he was there. I wasn't there. I was like 2 years old, but he was there. So let's watch this video, and then Marvin will come up.
So for about 50 years, 51 to be exact, been investing in our young people in Stanislaus County. And it was a beautiful fall morning. I remember being just gorgeous. And it was my practice. Usually on a Thursday, I would go onto high school campuses and just meet kids, some of the kids I knew, and sit down and have lunch with them, just appointments. And it was a beautiful day. And I remember checking at the office of Modesto High School and walking into the quad area. And for whatever reason, what struck me was this. Hundreds of young people were sitting around tables, taking their lunch, messing around like we all did at lunchtime. But the thought came to my mind, look at all these amazing potential community influencers and shapers. And it struck me, oh my gosh, all these leaders. My next question was, who's doing anything about intentionally developing, especially the Latino leaders? I grew up in a very diverse community in Modesto, West Modesto. It was a different world back then, a different city. And let me just say it this way, I'll be candid. I grew up very Anglo. I would be like a coconut in a lot of ways, brown on the inside and white, brown on the outside and white on the inside. And so, don't write that down. Thanks you, Erica. So, a lot of times I just didn't see who I was already made on the outside. I just didn't see it just because that was the world I grew up in. But as I began to emerge and see other facets of myself, so I walk on campus. And I already had a lot of influence already. I had a lot of people resources and a lot of influence. And I saw all these young people, and I thought, oh my gosh, I remember sitting at that table at Modesto High School. Oh, I remember hanging around over here. And the thought came to my mind, I wake up every morning wanting to develop leaders, especially young leaders. So let's do something about this. We'd already been doing campus clubs because I was working in a church, and so we were doing campus clubs and overseeing and developing young people to lead those clubs. So it was a very easy transition for me. I just joined Hispanic Leadership Council, which was one of my first Latino service projects or clubs that I was a part of. So I went to the OGs there, and I said, we've got all these young people. Let's start doing campus clubs. And since they were Hispanic Leadership Council, in 1989, which I forget how old I was then, I just said, let's call them Hispanic Youth Leadership Councils. And we've shifted through the years to clubs, and we know that if we were to change the name now, we'd make some changes differently, but that's where we are. And so we piloted Modesto High School. Marty Villa led Modesto Highs, and at those years, it was community-led, so community outside advisors. I started at Downey High. And just had an amazing time. We went from 2 schools to 6 schools. And just over time, I needed to go do something else. But the idea was always this, is that how do we begin to involve kids in development of their own lives and their own leadership and instill in them a heart for community. And so, what is this now, 30, whatever it is. I'm an English major, not a math major. So 1989 to whatever this is. It's been that long. And there's been literally thousands and thousands of kids up and down Central Valley that have been a part of these clubs and can look back and say, I had somebody invest in me and plant a dream in me about being more than what I thought I could be. So that was the genesis. And I want to encourage you all, too, as I ask Carlos to come back up, is that you have one of those dreams, too. And there are things that you see, just go do it. Just start. Or ask around and figure it out. So anyway, that was the genesis of the Hispanic Youth Leadership Clubs. We're just going to do it and figure it out as we went. Carlos?
Thank you, Marvin. I've heard that phrase before, figure it out and do it as we go, or something along those lines. Okay, I'm excited to invite Vicente Rosales up to the stage. Can we hear it for Vicente Rosales? Here you go, sir. So Vicente Rosales, he's going to introduce himself. He's a teacher at Pittman High School. Okay, anybody from Pittman? No, okay, no Pittman either. Oh, yeah, Melissa. Órale. Okay, so I don't want to say much because I want you to share where you're from and then how long have you been an advisor, and then we'll go from there.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Vicente Rosales. I've been an advisor for about 14 years. I kind of lost track. I had to think about it yesterday, how many years I've been doing this. But really quick, I was approached by a student, and I have 4 kids, so I've always been really busy with 4 kids. And we had Mr. Duran and Luis Jimenez who approached me many years ago. They said, if you can just lead for 1 year, that's all we need. 1 year of you to lead, and then after that, you could kind of do it. And this is 14 years later, so I've been.
So, Mr. Rosales, as we've spoken and we've got to know each other, can you share with us where have you seen students grow as they're part of these clubs?
I think being in high school, a lot of students need that confidence to grow and to become the leaders that they are. I myself was the shy kid that never spoke in front of people, and I see those kids, and starting in a small setting and just in my classroom to speaking to the clubs and then going to cluster meetings, some of these students merge into leaders in their own right. And so that's what I've seen quite a bit, just giving that confidence and that environment.
So, can you tell us a little bit about what are cluster meetings? You guys saw a video of September's cluster meeting, but can you tell us a little bit about cluster meetings and how that is beneficial to the students?
Cluster meetings is just a reunion of all the high schools. All the high schools get to report on what they're doing. Other schools get ideas. That's what I've gotten a lot of the ideas for our high school. And it's also a place for community. Long life, friendships have been developed in the last 14 years, including my own kids have gone through HYLC where they have developed friendships with other students from other schools. Some of them have even gotten married, so it's kind of an interesting dynamics.
Check. Yeah.
Yes.
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 As adults.
Yes. As adults, of course. We were actually last night. We were actually at Pittman High School for the cluster meeting, and I just got to say your group did an amazing job hosting us.
They did. That's all them.
Did an amazing job. Okay, so any stories that you could share for us? It's been 14 years. We don't want the horror stories. Just leave that.
And that's the thing. I've never had bad story. There's so many stories. But there's one story. Actually, the young lady was there yesterday. She was a former president, and just she came in. She wasn't even Latina. She was Asian. She came in. She says, "Do I have to be Hispanic to be part of this club?" I said, "No, you don't. You could just, this is what we do." She said, "All right." So as a freshman, she started helping out, and then she became a president. And she really, embraced it. She took it and made it her own. She became a leader. She became a president. And just giving her that confidence to grow and to mature into a leader that she is. And I just saw her yesterday. She's currently a teacher at Newman. Actually, that's one of the relationships I was talking about because she met her current boyfriend at a HYLC function, and they're both teaching now, so it was a very cool experience.
Anybody else that come to mind that you could share with us?
Yeah, there was another student that didn't think that they could, go to college. I had her as a student, and I said, "Hey, let's join HYLC, and maybe you can, do something else." Very shy. And this student never thought she can go to college. So one of the important things that we do, my goals, is to expose them to universities like I was when I was young. And so, just having them go to an environment like that and taking place maybe in a conference, and that's what we do usually. And eventually she was able to go to college. She went to San Marcos, and now is a professional in marketing. So yes, so those type of stories, there's many of those that I can probably share, but we don't have enough time, I guess.
Yes. Yeah, the clock is ticking.
It's ticking.
We'll have to write a book eventually.
Yes.
After we write Marvin's. Where's Marvin? Okay, so yes, we're coming short on time, but any last words to encourage us to regañarnos? I don't know.
No, I think listening to these young people. Today we have the pleasure of listening to one of our members who did do a great speech. But just asking the questions and listening to these students and what they have to say about what do they need. They're all, I've been teaching for almost 25 years, and kids are still kids. They're still the same. Maybe they're, distracted a little bit more with cell phones and all that stuff. But just listening to what they have to say and what they see their future and what they want to do. And that's one of the things that I think we need to listen more to them.
Yes. Mr. Rosales, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Can we hear it up for Mr. Rosales? Next, I am going to invite Melissa Ruiz. I just want to introduce her real quick and tell you a little bit about her story. Melissa's a junior at Pittman High School, part of Pittman HYLC. And last year, we had a all-club speech contest sponsored by CMN and the Stanislaus Latino Chamber of Commerce. And she was our speech winner. So today, we asked her to please come and share her speech with us on the topic of who has modeled leadership for you. So can we hear it for Melissa?
Hi guys, good morning. Okay, so this is the first speech I've ever written, so I hope you guys enjoy. Okay. Leadership. Leadership is one of those words that we could all have a different definition of. It could be a word, a person, an experience. It's a feeling of hope, a hope that reassures you that you're in the right hands. I was given the prompt, who has modeled leadership for you? I spent time thinking, who could I possibly write about? You know, there's the obvious, world leaders, authority figures, celebrities even. After all that research, I had a clear answer. Who has modeled leadership for you? I have written you a speech on mi papá. He grew up in Mexico with lots of family and love surrounding him. From the little town he lived in to where he is today, he took the initiative to make something great of himself. He said that my abuelita, his mother, told him once, you can become whatever it is you want to be, and you can be a big man one day. And she deeply believed that. He said that she hugged him, and after that, my dad took her idea and ran with it. He knew that sitting around wouldn't get him anywhere. That he should be doing more. My dad says he couldn't stand staying still, quietly doing nothing on the sides. So he packed his bags and said goodbye to the only home he had ever known. He came to the United States when he was 19, and even though he was one of the last people in his immediate family to do so, if that doesn't take any courage or tenacity, then I don't think anything does. People have potential that they can put into whatever they could possibly dream of. My dad knows of his potential, and he puts it to work. His goals are laid out, and he works his way backwards, figuring out all the meticulous steps needed to achieve it. When you think no one will volunteer to solve a problem, he will be there to prove you wrong. When you think someone who acknowledges their faults isn't strong, he will be there to show how flaws can bring resilience. When you think a kid from another country not speaking a lick of English can make it into UCLA, he will be there to prove how intelligence comes from all corners of the world, and he will be there to prove so much more. He perseveres through his obstacles, what lies in front of him. He has responsibilities, and not only does he go above and beyond, he fully commits. He proves that he is quite capable of putting his aspirations and his goals into action. He lets none of his potential go to waste, and I don't think waste is even in his vocabulary. Apart from being a leader to others, he has to stay true and lead himself. He knows who he is, and he lets his actions speak louder than words. Lead by example. Do as I do, not as I say. He buries himself in work, and even then, he makes sure that he has time to volunteer further time to his sons, his wife, his siblings, and his parents. He is selfless, one of the most important traits needed to successfully guide others. You have to look out for the rest. Leaders are the ones who make the world spin, and he spins mine. Being a father is one of the biggest roles that gives you the chance to guide someone else in this life. My dad says, your existence in this world is temporary. The thing you leave behind are your kids. It's one thing to be able to lead others. It's another to leave a lasting impact on them. His respect, integrity, innovation, and way with people are his legacies. The greatest leaders we know of today have lasting legacies on the world. He passes this on to me, my family, and everyone else he meets on his way. He strives to make as many contributions to the world as he can in his time. And I simply cannot count how many contributions he's made to mine. Thank you for your time.
Can we hear it for Melissa one more time, por favor? Now we want to give space for you to discuss at your tables. We're going to enter to our table talk, and we're going to talk about these two things. Number one, did someone invest in you as an emerging leader? And number two, how are you investing in emerging leaders? So did somebody invest in you? And then how are you investing? So we'll give about some time here. So please go ahead. Let's get everybody a chance to talk, and let's go.
All right. How are the conversations going around the table? I love the energy. I know in my table I heard some really great stories and sharing around. I heard a mention of a father who invested in someone, who really poured into them, a teacher, and others. And so I love the energy that we're hearing around the room, and I hope you enjoyed that time getting to know your neighbors. So with that, I've been already, I had familiarity about HYLC, but hearing the speech that was shared today, hearing directly from the teacher was so incredible. It gave us a different look and a different lens into what actually takes place and the leaders that are a part of it. So I've enjoyed that part of the morning. But we are going to transition, and we're going to talk a little bit about Latino Leadership Initiative. So I know last month at the Catalyst Gathering, we got to hear some of the action plans that some of the leaders shared. So if you were here last month, you've already gotten a glimpse about Latino Leadership Initiative. But we're going to go a little deeper today. So in the past, last month we talked about the action plan themselves and the goals and the dreams that some of these leaders had for the next couple of years. But today we're going to talk to you a little bit more about how it started, and you're also going to hear from some different voices who participate and engage in the program. So Latino Leadership Initiative is a program of City Ministry Network. And it was close to 7 years ago or so. It started off with just conversations happening. And so how many things have started just with conversations? How many times have you been in a space or in a table like this where it's just an idea, and then next thing you know, I think the teacher from Pittman said, I signed up for a year, right? And then here we are 14 years later or so. So much usually starts off with like an idea, a conversation that inspires you, and it moves into something larger, and people get involved. So that's really how Latino leadership got formed. What we did started, CMN and Marvin, several years ago, started just gathering Latino leaders in our community. And I think what we recognized was that our population in Stanislaus County of Latinos is nearly 50%. But yet a lot of the leadership was not reflective of that. So we started gathering with leaders who didn't know each other, who were all doing amazing things, who were very passionate, who wanted to get engaged a little bit more in the community. So we started to connect them similarly to this, just creating a safe space. And we wanted to learn from them. We wanted to gauge, what they wanted to see for themselves, what they needed, what type of training, what types of spaces. And so we had an idea already in mind. What if we created a program that intentionally focused on the core competencies of civic leadership and really walk some leaders through what that could look like for themselves and their lives and their futures? And so what started with conversations is now 5 cohorts later of emerging leaders in Stanislaus County. So many of them are here today. I love seeing all the familiar faces. And so that means to date, we have nearly 70 alumni in the program. Yeah, and we're launching our next cohort, so you'll likely hear more about that application that's open. If you know somebody who's interested and you want to point them in that direction, make sure you talk to one of us at the end of the day. So we're excited to move into our 6th cohort with Latino Leadership Initiative. And we are incredibly honored that these leaders trust us to journey with them. They're already incredibly talented, as I said. I'm constantly in awe by the talent and the amazing people that we have in our community. So they just allow us to walk with them, journey with them, share our experiences with them, provide some structure along the way, because when we started, and I'll say cohort number 1, shout out to you if anyone's here, because we were learning along the way. I think Marvin said that earlier. But here we are going into our 6th cohort, proud to be a part of this, to have this expanded network of almost 70 leaders now in our community who have gone through a series of sessions around the core competencies of civic leadership, who now have a plan of what they want to do in the next couple of years and how they want to engage intently in our community. So with that, I failed to mention I'm part of the leadership team, so I get the opportunity to really help shape the program and to also mentor some of the leaders and work alongside others who are part of the leadership team, like Damian Martinez, who you'll hear from in a second. Damian is a senior management consultant at the CEO office of Stanislaus County, and join me in welcoming him.
Good morning. So I want to first thank Carlos Gonzalez and the City Ministry Network for the invitation and time to share some insights about my experience with the Latino Leadership Initiative, LLI. I also want to recognize other members of the LLI leadership team, Maria Cortez, Maria Revelo, who can't be here to join us, Marvin Jacobo, and John Torres. I would be remiss if I did not thank and recognize also the technical staff, as I refer to them, of LLI as well. So Mike Gunnarsson, Carlos Gonzalez again, and in the back, Mark Garcia. Their technical and programmatic assistance is highly valued, and I'm appreciative of you all. And also, and finally, to the former LLI graduates, which I see some in the room this morning, thank you for your wisdom, knowledge sharing, and dedication to LLI and to our community. It is inspiring. I'm appreciative of you all. So now I want to begin my brief comments, I only have a few minutes, by highlighting two dates. The first is March 9th, 1988, which was and still is a pivotal moment in my life. March 9th, 1988 is the day my father, Gilbert Martinez Sr., began his journey with sobriety. Until age 12, though, my father was either incarcerated or addicted to alcohol and drugs, or in the act of selling drugs. The second date is December 16th, 2016, when my older brother, also Gilbert Martinez Jr., passed away. He passed away from an enlarged heart because of decades of methamphetamine use. Why do I mention these two dates and both Gilberts? These dates represent the effects of challenges. One where challenges were overcome, and the other where they were not. Early on in my life, my father and my brother were the male role models to which I was exposed. On nearly a daily basis, I would witness their criminal involvement, substance abuse, and alcoholism. I did not know or have any contact with positive male role models as a child. They are, in part, why it is important for me to invest in LLI. LLI is much more than a leadership program. It is a calling, an initiative dedicated to forging young people in a positive way to contribute to the advancement of our community, a program that seeks to build off the skills that they already possess. I want to turn now to why our community needs a program like this. Let me share a couple statistics as food for thought. Stanislaus County has over 550,000 residents, of which, depending on the data source you look at, are more than 50% of Hispanic Latino descent. Further, 41% of those Hispanic Latinos are between the ages of 18 and 44, those ripe for instigating change in leadership positions in our community. These data show that the Hispanic Latino population in Stanislaus County is significant, but unfortunately not represented adequately in leadership positions across our county. LLI offers a response to this. To those who are admitted to LLI, it offers them the foundational skills, knowledge, and relationships that are necessary to assume leadership positions in our community. As such, representation matters. Representation should be diverse. Representation shows what is possible. Representation is infectious. Representation is required. Now, let me conclude my comments by reflecting on my experience with the two Gilberts, my father and brother. If I had only been exposed to just them, my path would have surely been different. Thankfully, I met and was mentored by several positive Latina role models, like Dr. Rodolfo Alvarez from UCLA and Dr. Pastora San Juan Cafferty from the University of Chicago, who taught and showed me that there was an alternative path forward. These role models taught and showed me that change is possible and that selfless, persistent advocacy for the most vulnerable in our society should be the driving force for change. This is what LLI embodies. LLI is the change that is possible. LLI teaches selfless, persistent advocacy for the most vulnerable. LLI is designed to ensure that young people have mentors, have people who believe and are invested in them. LLI is dedicated to coming alongside our future leaders, to encourage and support them to chart an impactful path forward. This is why our community needs a program like LLI, a program that, at its core, develops and promotes positive pathways towards leadership to encourage young people, like my 12-year-old self, about what is possible through engaged, passionate, dedicated service to the community and to our most vulnerable. Thank you.
All right, let's give it up one more time for Damien. That was amazing. Thank you. So I get the privilege and honor now to introduce Andrea Carranza, who was a part of the last leadership cohort, cohort number 5. So Andrea is the program manager at Downtown Streets team, and she's going to share a little bit about her experience in the program. So join me in welcoming her.
Hi everyone, buenos dias. I'm really excited to be here with you all to share with you a little bit about my experience with the Latino Leadership Initiative. I can start off by saying that this has been one of the most impactful experiences that I've been a part of. LLI gave me the opportunity to learn a lot more about myself in a way that I didn't think I needed. I learned about my strengths, my weaknesses, and my leadership style, and how we all have our own skills that we can bring into our leadership roles to invest in our community, in ourselves. As a first-generation Latina, one of the things that really stood out to me from one of our sessions is, as a first generation, you experience a lot of firsts. And I did with LLI. I experienced having my first mentor, and that was amazing, having someone to guide me through the 8 months that I was with the program, to invest in me, to have conversations that I didn't really have the opportunity to have growing up within my family. So many leaders really take pride in being Latino and investing in our community. And each session they showed up and they poured into us. It was really impactful, and I was eager every Saturday when we had an LLI session to learn about the leaders that are here paving the way, that are sharing their experiences and their wisdom with us. Some of the biggest benefits that come out of LLI and being a part of it, I think, is the support and the network that we gain. Like I mentioned, we have leaders coming in every session to talk about so many different things of core competencies like Maria mentioned. So government, board meetings, what it means to really take pride in the work that they do. I really left feeling inspired every day. I think it really ignited something in me, something in my little inner child self that gave me a lot of hope, that I was also paving the way for my family. And as a first-generation Latina, I'm seeing so much representation in so many important sectors of our community and our community work. The leadership team is incredible. You heard from Maria and from Damien today, and I can say, working along them, being there, they provide so much support and knowledge and wisdom. As I stand in front of you all here today, I'm hearing some of the feedback in the head. I'm trying to slow down because I can feel myself getting a little nervous. And those are things that we don't really have the opportunity to really gain. And Marvin, during a lot of our sessions, would say, this is probably one of the last places that you're going to get feedback with love. And it was true. And I think that they really cared about us and how we can be successful and really shape and kind of tighten up the skills and the talents that we have. I think they gave us a lot of affirmation and just support and believing in ourselves that we can be capable of the things that we dream of or we plan to accomplish. And so if you're learning or wanting to learn more about your leadership journey or yourself, and you're kind of wanting to learn more, I would really encourage you to look at the Latino Leadership Initiative. If you're trying to find a way to invest into emerging leaders or try to give back or contribute in your community in some way, I would really encourage you to consider the Latino Leadership Initiative. They're doing really great work. The City Ministry Network, the leadership team, came all together and created a beautiful, safe space for us to be our authentic selves, to learn, to cry, to laugh. And I'm just really grateful for the opportunity, for the continued support and investment. Even now as an alumni, we're still continuing the conversation of leadership and investing in yourself and growing. And so thank you so much to the leadership team and for all of you today.
All right. Thank you, Andrea. That was amazing. Thank you, Andrea. It's always nice to see when the leaders start the program and how they start to open up and feel more comfortable. And so it's been a joy to see Andrea go through that program and flourish even throughout. Next up, we want to highlight a video from one of our first cohort members. So from cohort 1, we're going to hear on video, a quick video from Alu or Aluriel Ceballos, or as we would call him, Alu, Community Engagement Specialist at Golden Valley Health Centers. And so join me in watching this highlight from him.
Hi, my name is Alu Ceballos, and I was part of the very first Latino Leadership Initiative cohort in 2020. In a short amount of time, LLI has really showcased its value to the community and really showcased its ability to build community capacity through its alumni. This program in itself invests in people. The people then in turn impact our community in meaningful ways. Some of the LLI alumni now serve in the city council. Others started nonprofit organizations that really provide a voice to the underserved in various city, county, or regional initiatives. We have other LLI alumni that serve in various boards. And just last month, one of my cohort members from 2020 was recognized by El Concilio for their commitment to the community. So LLI really demonstrates its ability to provide its participants with skills and the tools necessary to really impact our community and make it a better place. LLI has really helped me in my leadership journey in multiple ways. One of those ways is learning my why. And once I learned my why, it really helped me improve my focus on what really matters to me in a professional setting and a personal setting, and really guides my decision making to this day. The second thing is their mentorship program. Through the program, we're connected to a mentor to help us through the program and answer any questions that we have. I still have a great relationship with my mentor to this day, and we talk often. The third thing is they provide us with a network that leads to other opportunities. Since 2021, I've been serving at the Modesto Junior College Foundation Board, and I now currently sit as the treasurer for the foundation, and that was a connection made through the Latino Leadership Initiative.
Can we hear it for everybody who shared this morning, please? Thank you. Thank you. As we close this morning, I want to show you a picture of mine. So, the first thing you'll notice is I had a lot more hair back then. But I was 17 years old. They were praying for me for my birthday. It was my first birthday ever in a church. And what I didn't realize at that moment is that these three people were going to be instrumental in my development as a leader, as a person. They're the ones that invested in me at that age. They're the ones who helped me believe I can be a leader, who helped me believe that there were gifts and abilities and talents inside of me that I could use to bless others, to be a blessing to others. So as we close out this morning, I just want to highlight two things. Number one, as City Ministry Network, we believe this is our piece of the pie. It's a big pie. There's a lot to do, but we believe this is our piece in investing in emerging leaders. So through HYLC, through LLI, we believe that this is our piece that we get to contribute. But the second thing is, I want to have us ask ourselves, how can we now invest? And just a few things you've heard throughout the videos. One is be a mentor. Believe me, we need mentors, and we also need to be mentors to others. Through HYLC, you can speak at clubs. So if you're interested in speaking in clubs, sharing about your story, you guys can approach me. Please connect to other leaders in your town, around you. You can always also, I have to say this, you can always give to CMN, and we can invest that back into these clubs and back into LLI. And invite young professionals to coffee. Invite somebody, and just as Mr. Rosales was saying, listen to their story. Yes, we're all experts. Yes, we have a lot to do, a lot to give, but also these emerging leaders have a lot to give to us. And so that's my invitation to everybody. You could be a mentor, you can invite somebody to coffee, you can give, but we need, I'm going to say it like I represent all the younger leaders, right? But in this moment, I'm going to represent the younger leaders. We need your wisdom. I'll say it again. We need your wisdom. And as leaders, we also need to share it with others. So one thing before I'm going to ask Courtney to come up. She's going to share about next month, not next week. But one thing at your tables, it's the Hispanic Education Conference. This is our second year being part of the team. And I think as of now, we have about what, Marvin? 700? Over 700 students who are going to be attending, so that's exciting. Please take this with you, give it to somebody you know, share it. And as Courtney comes up, she's going to share with us about next month. Can we hear it for Courtney? Yay! Woo, woo, woo.
Good morning. I don't know that there's much more to say after some of what you all have shared. Although I was thinking about, and I think Andrea left, I'm not sure if she's here, but I remember a time where I was giving a very nervous speech to someone who I won't name. At the end, I was told how many ums I said for some feedback, Marvin, which I still sometimes will tell him, hey, I heard 3 when you talked. And he'll go, really? No, I'm just making fun. But I think that growth that we have to do through that uncomfortable part is really important. So I'm grateful for the stories that were shared this morning. For next month, so it's kind of great. The last couple of months you've heard about LLI and HYLC, what's been happening this year. Here's the other thing, that LLI and HYLC are not the only leadership development that CMN does. So I'm on the board and have been involved for a long time. And what we're going to spend some time next month, so usually Marvin will share the state of the network and how things have gone in this last year. Well, Marvin is actually gone. He's on sabbatical next month. So he put me in charge, me and Leah. And gave me ideas of what we were going to do or what we could do. And I said, okay, great. And we're going to do what we want to do. So he's gone. We get to, right? So what we want to actually do, though, is we want to highlight the work that actually happens in this room, in the leadership development that happens just by you showing up every month, by talking to each other, by getting to know new people, by hearing new things that are happening in our community, and really talk through how has this developed your leadership. Emerging leaders are not just the young, although I'm so grateful to hear those fresh and new ideas. I don't think I'm a young one anymore, but I'm so grateful that it doesn't just stop there. I think each of us are emerging in different ways in our leadership. And so next month, that's what we're gonna take some time to do, is to hear and learn a little bit about how even your involvement monthly at Catalyst has continued to develop your own leadership. So show up, come, enjoy. We get to do whatever we want because Marvin's gone. We will get to enjoy a little bit about learning what our own leadership emerging is gonna look like or continues to look like here at Catalyst. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Courtney. I'm going to invite you to stand. We're going to pray to close out our morning. Once again, thank you, everybody, for being here. And we'll see you next month. Well, let's pray. Lord, thank you for your goodness and for all the investment that is being done in emerging leaders. Thank you, Lord, because you love us, you love our city, you love our county, and you're doing a great work in us. So please continue to bless our day, bless our week, and may you be with us, Lord. In your name I pray. Amen. Nos vemos, familia. See you guys next time. Peace.